Okay, been playing with this new 3D printer I got. I had it for a little while now. It kind of intimidated me for a little while, but finally decided I better just charge right in here and see what I can make her do. Printed a couple trinkets. You know, anybody can download a file and print trinkets. You know, that's really not why I bought mine. I have a few special parts I needed for my go-karts and a few other little projects I got going that wouldn't mind having made out of plastic. So I decided, man, I gotta learn to design my own stuff if I'm going to get one of these 3D printers and do with it what I really want to do with it. So we printed a couple trinkets, like I say, and now we're into actually making something that I want, you know, rather than just, hey, look what I got. I'm going to give you a little show of the CAD program here and kind of give you an idea what it takes to do this stuff. People think you can just jump right up, take a picture of something and throw it on your 3D printer and it's going to print it. It's not that simple. But anyway, so here we go. Let me get you over here on the computer. This is the part I'm making. It's for the go-karts. We got to have a little flange bracket, whatever you want to call it, to get an air cleaner on this thing. You know, it's a snowmobile, and in the winter there ain't a whole lot of dust flying around, so they don't have any way to mount an air cleaner on them very easily. So this is the piece I'm making to do that job. We got her all drawn up here. Let me get her centered up a little bit for you. A little bigger. And now I'm going to do something that makes me laugh every time, because these CAD guys always want to show you how they can spin their little part around. Man, dude, I ain't impressed by you spinning that part around. What impresses me is how you made the drawing. But you know, because that's what we like to do, we're going to spin her around a little bit for you. That's kind of the bottom of it right there that mounts on the carburetor. And then this side up here is where we'll put a gear clamp, more than likely, just with a foam filter around it. Let's see if I can get it rolled right over here for you. There you go. You can see right through it. 3 holes for the screws that hold her all together. And now what it takes to get there. Let me get this straightened back around where it belongs. There's no confusion there when I go to reopen it. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of room for confusion with this stuff. Okay, so let's close this one down and we'll open one here that'll... No, we don't want to save any changes. We'll open one up that kind of gives you an idea of what it takes to get to that point. This one might be it. Oh yeah, this is the one. This is the one. So here's the beginning stages of what it took for me to actually make that thing. And once again, we're going to play the old spin game. Say this, whatever. Orbit. We're going to orbit this thing. And you can see here's my radiuses for part of it. These parts up here make the area to clamp the filter onto, and the flange is down here. Okay, that pretty much, let me spin that around a little more, because some boys really think that's cool when they can do that. And that's cool, ain't it? Okay, enough of that. We'll close this down, and now we'll head on over to the 3D printer here in a second. No, we don't want to save no changes. We've been playing with that. We'll shut that down. So here's a couple of the finished parts. Camera don't want to focus for some reason. Here's my first one, and as you can see, it doesn't have a hole through it. Make it a little hard for that carburetor to get air through it with no hole in it. So we moved on to the next one, and we got a hole in her. We actually got a shell, and it come out pretty good. We're printing this in half size right now. No sense blowing away a bunch of filament plastic wire stuff that is relatively cheap, but this thing here took over an hour to print, so the full-size version probably won't take that much longer, but we're going to find out. We're lacking the holes, the screw holes. I put them in. Boy, that was a chore. They wound up poking through and coming into the middle, and man, what a hassle that was. But we got her, and we're in the process of printing the first prototype with screw holes in it. We'll get a look at that here in a minute. The printer's over there running. Okay, this is my, I like to refer to as my printing studio. Pretty high tech, but anyway, let's zero in on this a little bit, kind of get an idea of what's going on. And there she is, just a printing away. Looks like we're having a little trouble. I might have to turn that temperature down some. Oh yeah, she's definitely getting too hot. We gotta turn that down real quick. That nozzle temperature turned down. We were running about 200 degrees Celsius. I backed her down to about, that's 189. I was shooting for 190. Buttons on this. This ain't one of your high dollar 3D printers. I give a whole 180 bucks for it, I think. But for practicing and playing with, you know, it's getting the job done. I'm learning a lot about different filaments and so forth. So well, there's our beginning of our little 3D experience, 3D printing experience. And as soon as this one gets done, we'll fire up the old camera and give you a shot of what she looks like. Alrighty. And here's that finished product. Definitely not perfect. We got a couple holes. We got a hole right there. It's gonna let some dirt in. We can't have that. It's where I made the clearance for the heads on my screws that hold this thing to the carb. I'm in the process of printing out a full size one now. This is actually half size right here. No sense wasting a bunch of filament on something you're not sure about. I'm doing it anyways though, because I didn't do nothing about them. I'm kind of hoping that when we go to full size that won't be an issue. But yeah, there's a side that mounts to the carburetor, and we're going to clamp our foam filter on that side, and hey, we got a filter for the go-kart. The old dependable will finally have a real live filter. Alrighty, in regards to how did that turn out, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Old Cheap Charlie here, he's going to use every last drop of this filament that they sent me with my printer, and then it kind of caused a little problem for me. Let me show you the part that printed off. Oh, and by the way, I said something about that might just take a little longer than an hour. Boy, yeah, it took a little longer. 3 hours and some odd minutes, 3 hours and 12 minutes, I think, to print this whole thing off up to full size. But here's what I run into. See, I was running along with the white. That's the base, so we started with the white, and when it ran out of the white, I stuck the red filament right in behind it and chased it down pretty good. Everything went really smooth, but when I went from the red to the green, I had a few hiccups there, and although it did print, and it stuck long enough to get it to print, when I went to pop it up off the bed, she broke in half. Not a big deal, really. Easily fixed. Just use one filament and don't be trying to be a cheap Charlie. But anyway, we still have the hole problem. We still got the holes that go through, and obviously that's not going to work in a carburetor situation. So we're in the process of getting that straightened out. Back to the old drawing board, as the saying goes. But that's how she came out. Man, it's looking good. I don't know if you can see it, but we got the webbing inside here. Came out real nice. The whole thing seems to be real strong. I can't hardly crush it, so we should be able to not have any trouble putting that filter on there. But that's what happened, and that's where we're at, and we're working the problems out of her. Okay, we finally got that printer project done, a finished product, so to speak. Man, come out pretty nice. Had pretty good luck. Let me show you what we got here. Here's the final product. Man, it only had one little spot where my screws didn't want to go in. As you can see, we can get them slipped right in there. Drop right through. All three of them with no problem. Well, I had a little trouble with one. Had to get out the Dremel and open her up a little bit. But other than that, man, things look good. We'll take her over and bolt her onto the motor and put the filter on it and show you exactly what this thing's all about. Here's what she looks like on the snowmobile motor. Well, Dependable's really going to like this. I think going to be able to breathe some air that ain't 130% dirt. But that's what all the fuss has been about. And then we just take our foam air cleaner, and that fits neatly right on there. And we will probably put like a gear clamp or something around that to hold the foam on, but looks like it's going to work. Had to elongate my holes ever so slightly. Yeah, this is my bolt hole circle there. Not hard to do. I don't know how I did, though. It looked like it was a pretty nice even number, but I don't know. Either way, it's on there now, and I torqued them screws down pretty good. I'd run it right where it's at, and I didn't hear no popping or cracking from the plastic, so I got to believe we're going to be plenty strong enough. Time-wise, that print right there took 5 hours and 5 minutes. A little higher resolution than some of the other stuff that I printed. Used 13 meters of filament. What is that? 13 times 3, 39. Figure 40 feet of the old filament into it, but I think I gotta believe we're gonna call this one a success. I might move that bolt hole circle out ever so slightly, but man, she looks good. I like it. I'm happy.